When you've got a club with a fan base that's so obsessive about Newcastle United, to have a manager that's the same just felt like the perfect fit.
Shelby with the free kick. Oh, yes! All the way through from Shelby.
Sometimes you just need the right person to guide that group and then take a dismantled team and City and put all the pieces together.
It's amazing what it does for this place. It just gets uproar and everyone could see what he was trying to do.
I think we probably caught a lot of teams by surprise that season, the way that we played, the intensity that we pressed with.
He's one of the best coaches I ever had, not only as a coach, but as a man.
Newcastle didn't just beat PSG, we hammered them.
It's always there for me, the power of the relationship between everyone in the football club.
Three years ago, the mood around Newcastle United was really low.
Going to games and you were literally going, we just want to avoid defeat here. That's how low it was.
I think Geordies are naturally resilient. We live by that hope. We hope that something was going to happen.
These are troubling times for Newcastle United.
We knew a little bit about Eddie Howe prior to his appointment by Newcastle because we'd seen his Bournemouth teams, we'd seen the great work he'd done there, everything that he'd built.
Well, it feels fantastic to be head coach of Newcastle. I'm absolutely honoured, privileged. It's an incredible moment in my life.
So I think we had an idea of what he would be like, and the fact that he improved a team and improved players was probably attractive to supporters given Newcastle's position then.
We knew that he played an attacking style of football, which is what I think every fan wants.
I want to see the type of football that entertains, that excites people, and I think that's the type of football that Newcastle supporters want. It's going to take a lot of sacrifice and suffering in terms of the players giving everything that they have.
It's funny, for months and months before that, Matthew Raisbeck and Callum Wilson just always used to talk about how good he was.
Good, you sir, love it, ready!
I never forget when Wills was like, oh, he'll get the best out of you, and you think, like, never met him, and you just think, like, yeah, like, of course he will.
Fortunately, the gaffer arrived, and yes, everything changed.
This game, we're going to do 5 rounds.
It was definitely about just trying to get some positivity into the whole thing, really, the whole football club, and trying to get the players to play with more confidence. I think that they were probably the two things. I think we found a really honest, hard-working group. There was no problem with the application of the group, the togetherness. I think everyone realised that there was only one way we were going to transport ourselves out of the position that we were in, and that was through fighting for the club.
From the first day he came in, you sort of have a feeling towards someone, and you can tell by the first interactions you have if people are genuine or not, and so yeah, I can't speak highly enough of him.
Just felt that he was perfect for Newcastle United. A coach who's got a proven track record of improving players and improving teams, and somebody who was clearly obsessive about the detail and his work. When you've got a club with a fan base that's so obsessive about Newcastle United and everything that goes on, to have a manager that's the same just felt like the perfect fit.
You sort of forget now, but looking back, it was a time of pressure, and we needed instant results.
Ryan Fraser, Murphy down the wing, Fraser's ball in, Saint-Maximin! Brilliant goal by Newcastle. Alan Saint-Maximin with the equaliser.
And winning was just a game at the start was, I think, the key thing. I think we needed a launch pad, and we needed to win a game of football, but we had some difficult fixtures early on.
I think it took a bit of time for us all to see the changes that Eddie Howe was implementing and all the hard work on the training pitch and with the players.
Any manager taking over that needs to take time.
I think Burnley were sort of in and around us. We knew how important that game was. We were at home, desperate for us to reward the supporters for how they'd backed us and supported us in the early weeks. we battled and hung on.
I think the supporters, because they could see what was happening, they were able to buy into something with the belief, seeing some small improvements on the pitch, that there was something to really get behind and support. So I don't think he ever lost support in those difficult early days.
We still felt like we had a team, but there was that disconnect there. But you did feel that come back together, and you felt they were playing for each other.
I don't think the struggle start really was impacted with the fans, just because there was a really good mood around the club.
Because it's very easy for when a new manager and new coaching team come to a team, a new club, and there's no history between you. It's almost like, well, come on then, win games now. And I know that was obviously what was the want, and it's always the want, but I think there has to be an understanding of there's a process to get there. And that's where I think in the very early days, I think the early games, there was an incredible amount of support and understanding for the players, for us. The Cambridge game always sticks in my head, but there's others. There's Watford at home, and we conceded a late equaliser, but there wasn't a really negative feeling afterwards. It was almost like, okay, well, it didn't happen today, but maybe next week. And that support was absolutely fundamentally important for what happened afterwards, because the players were still playing with a confidence and a freedom that only comes from the right environment being created by the supporters. So that's why, for me, I was like, thank you. That's what the players need. I know it's not the result we wanted, but it's what the players need. When you're in a relegation battle and you know the primary objective is to stay in the league, you're feeling every game that you can't wait any longer to start your resurgence, really. And I think we saw within the squad that there was talent there. There was really good togetherness and a really good honesty from the group when we came in. So it was a case of just trying to get the players to build on their confidence levels. Unfortunately, that's what happened. I think the win at Ellen Road, I think, was the turning point.
Shelby with the free kick. Oh, yes! All the way through from Shelby, in off Melier.
I think the Leeds result really gave supporters, for the first time, genuine belief that this is going to work. Felt like a massive turning point for the club.
That just changed the momentum.
We knew the transfer window was going to be crucial to give Eddie Howe the opportunity to refresh the squad, bring some players in that would help those who were there to get Newcastle United up the table, and that's what happened.
But it's going to be Kieran Trippier with the free kick. Oh, yes! What a goal! Kieran Trippier for Newcastle United into the bottom corner.
And then it just took off.
Be forever grateful from the gaffer for giving us a chance. It was a huge risk on his part. I think bringing me in probably wasn't someone that the fans particularly were buzzing about coming in. I'm just very, very thankful for him and everything that he's done for me.
In terms of the players, that we knew we had a good group, and sometimes you just need the right person to guide that group, take a dismantled sort of team in City and put all the pieces together.
So it's amazing what it does for this place. It just gets uproar, and everyone could see what he was trying to do. You could see he was playing this attacking, pressing football.
That home win over Leicester was so critical. They knew they needed a win. You just knew that it was on.
And remember, it was towards the end of the season, we still felt all right, but there was still that little bit of doubt. And when Bruno scored that goal, we just went absolutely crazy. I felt like he was a Geordie already, like after a few games, that he just loved the place. This place, when it's full and it's rotten, it can be beaten.
The first full season of Eddie Howe, when you look back at it, it's no less of a significant achievement. It's no less incredible what they and the players were able to put together. And it's a season, I think, that started with very modest expectations.
I think any realistic fan at the start of that season would have said, well, okay, can we get sort of top 8 and a decent cup run? Would have been pretty happy. That would have showed progress.
From where we were, I thought anywhere in the top 10, that's pretty good.
It was the patience thing. It was the managing of expectation.
Well, I think it was just a building, continual building process from the squad that did so well to stay in the league and built a lot of momentum. We won a lot of games. We were confident we would have a good season. But I think it was a case of building momentum.
I think when he sets out the plan to play against a team, he said this is how we're going to go after them, and as results started to pick up as well, I think you sort of believe in it even more, and we're just in the sweet spot of sort of not thinking too much but also sticking to his structures and being so aggressive, and you had the crowd with you every week.
I think we probably caught a lot of teams by surprise that season with the way that we played, the intensity that we pressed with. I think teams were probably a bit arrogant and thinking that they could play through it, and that's probably what brought us as much joy as we did.
Everyone's bouncing and they're ready to bring on. It doesn't matter if we've got Man City or whoever it may be, we'll take them on and we'll back ourselves. Just felt massive from where we were.
It is Trippier. Oh yes! Absolutely out of this world!
What you've had at Newcastle United over the last 3 years has been players that were there in more difficult times, and some of them for many years, who've not only been part of a Newcastle United that's been transformed by Eddie Howe and his staff, but also their own careers have turned around and they're playing the best football they've ever played.
Taking a player like Miggy, just looking at his strengths and trying to build on those strengths and find ways to improve those strengths and make them even greater for the team. He's someone that really embraced the training, embraced the work, embraced the individual work, and then reaped the benefits. Had an incredible season, scored an enormous amount of goals, not just goals in itself, but important goals for the team. Delighted for him personally because he's such an infectious, warm personality. So he would be sort of a standout point really in terms of just trying to get the best out of the individual, and that's what we'll always try to do.
Newcastle United, great start to the season. Can they build on it? Can they extend it? Well, they go and win at Tottenham, so yes, they can, actually.
Sessegnon onto the ball now, Almiron trying to get away and does. Almiron into the area, goes around Longley. Almiron has scored! Newcastle have got a second goal!
The stands were absolutely bouncing. You know, it really was jumping.
And Miguel Almiron just can't stop scoring. It's a brilliant solo run from the Paraguayan.
Proved me as a player, not only me, but players that were here before him. I changed my position, and I think so. But in general, I think his mentality, his passion, his desire to work every day, to work hard, to improve. I always try to give it back to him, the belief he gave to me in the support in difficult times, and we always stay together and fight. And yes, so every time I step on the pitch, I just try to help the team and do what he asked me to do.
Well, not only are they an attacking team, but number one, they're a very strong defensive unit as a back four with a goalkeeper and everyone else in front protecting.
I think it was a season built on defensive solidity, clean sheets. Attitude to defend our goal was second to none. In terms of our overall style was still yet to be formed, but I think it was built on clean sheets and, as I say, that defensive work.
And then the forward play, wow. When you watch them, when they're in full flow, whether it's Miguel Almiron with his incredible run, Joe Willock from midfield, so much to enjoy and love and remember so fondly.
Zip back, and Joe Linton, and Byrne in the area, Dan Byrne!
Personal moments like me getting my first goal at the Gallagher right foot. Obviously, I never would have ever dreamt that happened.
Each sort of step along the way has been a building block, and ultimately to get the final was amazing.
Goal from Sean Longstaff, and the Geordie gives Newcastle the perfect start. Through for Almiron, the cutback. Here's a chance for number two. Brilliant. Sean Longstaff has got his, and Newcastle's second.
First cup final for 25 years and first trip to Wembley since 2000 when they lost an FA Cup semi-final.
The gaffer's made a huge thing about it ever since I've been here anyway. There's been a real incentive to try and win a cup. It's been such a long time since we've done it. That's always going to be the aim.
That's the sort of occasion that supporters who remember the better days of Sir Bobby Robson and Kevin Keegan had been dreaming of returning. Newcastle United were back at Wembley.
And Wembley gets ready. Newcastle United get ready.
The club's not won a trophy in so long, and obviously they want to be the first staff to do it, and we want to be the first group of players to do it.
Luke Shaw, left-footed delivery, headed into the net. The opening goal goes the way of Manchester United. Edge of the area, danger here. Rashford. It's 2-0. It's gone over Karius. It might have taken a touch, but Newcastle have got big problems now.
Obviously, you're so disappointed, but I think the crowd at the end showed how we're still behind the team.
As you've seen, you've got to a final as a team, you sort of probably believe a bit more that you can beat teams and you can get there again. And obviously we know it's going to be tough, but something that as a club, something that hopefully we can do this year.
I don't think, even though they didn't win the match, you can ever lose sight of just how meaningful all that was and what they were able to give the fans and give the city.
I'm not one to reminisce too much about the past and what's happened, because the future is the most important thing.
Newcastle Trippier's whipped ball in, header from Isak! Oh, great goal! Alexander Isak rises to knock the ball into the box.
My big focus, of course, was on the training and how I wanted the team to play, and that takes time to implement. But I think very quickly the players grasped it. I think they embraced it, which is absolutely key.
He just has a style that suits a lot of the players we have in terms of the way we like to play and our strengths. Be as aggressive as possible, sort of quick attacking football.
The cross, Isak has scored! Alexander Isak with a great finish in off the far post.
Build up to beating Manchester United. That was a statement.
A lot of stuff had been said beforehand about sort of the way that we played and stuff that we did. And the gaffer was like, if they want a quick game, let's give it to them. And I just knew, you just have that feeling sometimes that when you go out, that you're going to win games, and that's why I feel like we're best. That's my favourite bit is when we go out and we're dominating teams, and we've got that bit of edge about where I like not being liked as a team.
Everyone was so up for it, and we were just all over them.
Chips it to the far post, Sam Maxima. Oh! Goal! Joe Willock has scored the goal. A brilliant Newcastle move.
Again, another sign that this team's not here to mess around.
Black and white to hit. Trippier. Good ball. Yes! Callum Wilson has scored.
I think the gaffer tried to spread it as much as it felt it was like us against the world, and we knew that teams didn't want us to do well, and I think that probably got us back up a little bit more and really pushed them.
Us against the world is always the best time to be a fan. When your back's against the wall, or if you feel like you're the underdogs, it's always a good place to be.
I think it just instills belief in you. As long as you put the work in on that trainer pitch, they're going to try and help and develop you, and training's really hard, so when you get into a game, the games feel easier because you've worked so hard and you know that everything you've done during the week puts you in good stead for the games. The big thing's just having belief in you. I think confidence and belief in you is the two biggest things in football.
I don't think we ever come to the game now and think we're going to get beat today. I don't think that attitude is ever there.
If you're seeing a new photo every week, you know you're probably doing well, and if you're not, then you need to work harder to get more forward. I think it's something that we know from the outside people were laughing at, and now you look and I think there's so many teams doing it, so many teams taking photos after games, and he was the trailblazer for that. I think he wanted to make sure that you take in every moment, whether you play or don't play. He always said smile on the photo, because you won't remember the game or the performance, or if you played, but you'll always remember the photo and the people in it. So whether you were playing, not playing, it was like a thing to remember forever, and great memories that we'll be able to look back on.
Tottenham at home, who can ever forget that opening 20-25 minutes? It was utterly ridiculous.
Into the area, Joelinton's got space, might hit it, Joelinton, good save, the rebound is put in, and Jacob Murphy has put it into the net. Diagonal ball, Joelinton making the run, Joelinton's in, he's gone around Lloris and makes it goal! Joelinton with an absolutely brilliant finish from the ball over the top. Strong out of defence to beat Son to the ball. Murphy's had a go from one. Oh! rolls it forwards and passes it to Willock. And Willock, what an unbelievable ball! Alexander Isak one-on-one! Did you expect any other outcome? They've got 4. Here they go again, long snap into the corner on the right, back to Isak, has another goal! This is outrageous! Alexander Isak has scored 2 goals in 2 minutes, and Newcastle United have 5!
It was unbelievable.
I'll always look back on these days as the best days I've had playing football probably, and I can only thank him for creating them memories.
I'd spoke to people who trained with him before, so I sort of knew what it was going to be like coming in. It was very intense. Just the focus that he brought to the team and the sort of togetherness and how it sort of wanted to be everyone pushing to do a job.
The Leicester match was when they sealed the qualification for the Champions League. But for me, the Brighton game a few days before, it was a glorious night at St James's Park. The way that they beat them so emphatically.
Away from Dunk, Callum Wilson sends the defender to the floor, plays it back for Bruno! And it's 4-1, and Bruno makes it safe, and he has his first goal in 19 Newcastle appearances, and that is the 3 points, and they just need 1 more win, and it's Newcastle United 4, Brighton at home.
And just the feeling around St James's Park that night was truly special. I think that was just so key to then Newcastle completing the job a few days later.
Him and his backroom team, of course, as well. He's driven that team unity. He's seen how the fans have got behind him, how we've went from where we were, nearly getting relegated, to the following season getting in the Champions League. Like it was absolutely crazy.
Forwards it goes. The Champions League Knights are returning to St James's Park, and Newcastle United are back among the elite of European football.
Those tactical approaches that we saw from Eddie Howe and those decisions just helped Newcastle get over the line and into 4th to get Newcastle United somewhere where probably most of us at one point thought they would never get back to.
To know that we're qualified in the Champions League. I remember the last time in 2002 I was watching it on like terrestrial telly back in the day.
PSG was just another level.
That is, I think, the most special night in the club's modern history.
At the time, it was just another game, and we were just in the process of enjoying how we were playing. Really impressive performances, but we were still believing that great things could have been ahead of us.
I remember driving in and the roads was more traffic and stuff, and everything was different. Then you walk into the stadium, there was way more sort of cameras.
The Champions League branding boards were all up. St James's Park had been effectively redecorated, and it was prepared and set and fit for Champions League football again after 20 years.
Never experienced anything like that. I think just the anticipation for it anyway, knowing it had been such a long time. I think as well because it was PSG and the team that they had, you could just feel like everyone was just so excited.
So when that Champions League music come on, that was like, wow.
The noise, the atmosphere, the whole belief in the stands.
The stadium was ready, the fans were ready, and then we saw when the match kicked off, my goodness, the players were ready. That night, the crowd was involved in the game more than ever before, more than I can ever remember. in commentating on Newcastle United.
Newcastle didn't just beat PSG, we hammered them.
What a save! Almiron following it! Yes! Miguel Almiron! Miguel Almiron has scored!
Shouting at Bruno because he shot the first one, and then as soon as the ball came over, I think just let everything in us wanted to get to it.
Another save, Bruno with the shot, then the cross, and headed down, and is it in? The referee looks at his...
The longer it went on, we were just sort of, I think this could be a goal here. But I think just the way that it happened anyway, I think it was special.
He says it's a goal! And Dan Burn, of all people, has scored in the Champions League.
Sean Longstaff, after everything that he's been on in his Newcastle United journey, to be so important in getting to the Champions League and scoring in the Champions League.
The ball has found him. Longstaff in... Oh! Sean Longstaff has made it 3. Oh, and you can barely believe what you're watching. But Newcastle United have hit the mighty Paris Saint-Germain.
You just have to remember every day he does believe in you, and if someone like him does, then ultimately, yeah, nothing else really matters.
And then Fabian Schär just wrapping things up in the most incredible way.
Could take on the shot. Fabian Schär with... Oh! That is some way to seal it. Fabian Schär from distance has beaten Gianluigi Donnarumma and put it into the top corner to give us one of those special St James's Park European nights.
It was, yeah, unbelievable. Best game I've ever been to in my life.
What the club needed 3 years ago was change on and off the pitch. He was a big part in bringing a lot of much needed positivity to Newcastle United, something that had been missing for a very long time.
With Eddie, we love to come to the training ground, we love to be together. Every day is a good session of training because we love to be here.
Can I get in? Who's this? Mr. Jones, how are you? Good. You good?
Me, he's one of the best coach I ever had, not only as a coach, but in general, as a man, the way he treats every player. He talk not about football, but about life, about everything. He always here for us. He always try to help us, and yeah, he's like a father figure.
First and foremost, I just want to know how you are as a person rather than sort of me, the footballer. I think that's what probably sets him above different managers I may have worked under. It makes you want to do whatever you can to help his cause. Everyone in the club, since I've been here anyway, it feels like it's sort of one team pulling towards the ambition that we've got, and I don't feel as I could say that about many other clubs that I've played for.
I think you can see why, just as a person, players want to play for him because of the way that he is, the way that he conducts himself. He's absolutely the sort of manager that cares about his players, takes time for everybody.
As much as he helps on the pitch, I think off the pitch as well, like with just speaking about life, and obviously I'm a dad now and you can speak to him about advice and stuff, and he pulled us in and gave us a book that he's gave to his children and stuff, and yeah, it's more the part that people don't see. It's to why I probably love him so much.
Understands the passion, the drive and how much the club means, but I think a big thing as well he's connected to, even though he's not from the area, of how much this club means to the whole of the city. Everyone knows, obviously you can see the ground as you come in, but literally when you go through the streets there's Newcastle tops everywhere, and that's even through a weekday, let alone a match day. And I think he's got into that, even though he's not from the area, and he knows how special this club is. They just get it.
It's always there for me, the power of the relationship between everyone at the football club. It has to be harmonious, you have to be together. If you're not, what can seem quite a simple process can become very complicated. The players need the supporters. That will never change. I think if you get all those ingredients, core ingredients right, then it's a lot easier to try and produce a winning team. It's no guarantee, but it's a lot easier to do. The amazing thing about football is you never know what's around the corner. You never know what tomorrow brings. We know what yesterday brought, and I'm personally very grateful for everything that every experience we've had here and the time we've had together. From my side, I will always give everything I can to try and bring success here, and I know that I'll speak on behalf of the coaching staff as well, and of course the players as well, because I do think we still have a very good group of players that want to do well and are dedicated to bringing success.
That's where the seeds of success at Newcastle United have been sown by Eddie Howe and his staff, out on the training pitch, hard work, intensity, turning around what looked like an impossible situation. They were certainties for relegation when he came in. They've been a Champions League club, they've been in a cup final, and they're a football club that is still on the up.